5 focus factors of F&I. Focus. It's a state or condition that permits clear perception and understanding. It's like if you take a telescope and you want to see something really close, what do? You focus it in. You focus it in so you can see it clearly. And when you focus in on your job and when you focus in on the right factors, you can see them clearly as well. What you want to do is channel your energy in the right direction. If you expect it, you're more likely to get it. So what's the first focus factor? The first focus factor, of course, is the customer. That should be the primary focus of everyone in the dealership, is the customer. That's going to bring additional profit. It's going to bring additional customer satisfaction, and it's going to bring fewer complaints. And all of us in the selling industry like fewer complaints, don't we? Part of that customer is building rapport. You got to build rapport with the customer. You can't sell the customer if you don't have rapport, can you? And who do you sell for? You sell the customer for your reasons? No, you don't, do you? You sell it to them for, or products to them for their reasons. Every good F&I presentation should begin with something like this. Once you're ready to go, once everything is in the computer ready to go, once all your forms have been pulled, and I mean all your forms, all your blank forms have been pulled, including every product that you could possibly sell to set yourself up for success, should begin with something like this. Mr. or Mrs. Customer, this will not take a lot of your time. Everything's ready to go in the computer. I've got all your necessary legal documentations pulled and ready to go. But before we get started, I just want to take a quick minute of your time and thank you for your business. Now, actually, the dealer here requires that I do this. And you know why he does? It's because we know you had a choice. We know you had a choice to buy your bike from us today, or you could have bought it from somebody else. But you know what's more important to us? What's more important to us is you come back and buy your next bike and your next bike and your next bike, that you send in your family and friends, that you use our parts, our accessories, our service department. That's what's more important to us. Now here's what we found. What we found is that when that happens, it partly has to do with the bike and the quality and the performance, but it mostly has to do with how you were treated while you were here. My part of that process is the financial process. And when you walk out of here, I want you to be able to say a couple things about me. I want you to be able to say, number one, I was straightforward with you. Number two, that I was efficient and that I was prompt. But the most important thing you need to be able to say when you walk out this door after you sign this paperwork is that I have presented the financial benefits that are available to you, and I'm going to take a couple quick minutes of your time to present those benefits. That approach will break the preoccupation. It will build rapport with the customer. So now when you're presenting to the customer, now they're listening to what you have to say. You'll eliminate that person walking in and saying, I don't want any of that stuff. You know the one, right? I don't want any of that stuff. The second focus is the team. You need to focus on the team. I like to look at turnover, which from one part of the team to the next, from the sales department to the F&I department, I like to look at it as passing a baton in a track race. You can have the fastest runners in the world. If you don't correctly and efficiently pass the baton, then you're not going to win. It works the same for us. And you need to insist that your turnover's at point of sale. Point of sale, not point of delivery, unless they're the same. And take all the excuses away. Take the excuses away that I sold it on the telephone by making yourself available for when they sell it on the telephone. So make sure you train your sales staff. Tell them that when you sell something on the phone, end with something like this. Folks, or sir, ma'am, thank you very much for that purchase today. I appreciate the fact that you're buying that bike from me because I know you had choices. And I hope one of the reasons why is because I was very efficient and professional. And I want to make sure the rest of the process is just as efficient. So I'm going to put you on hold, and when I put you on hold, the next person that picks you up is the person that coordinates our delivery. Thanks again for your business. There's your point of sale turnover. If your salespeople are not selling on the phone, it means one thing. They are not following up. And if an F&I person is not taking turns on the phone, it means they're creating excuses for the customer. So the team, that's important. That's an important focus. Another part of that focus is, as it relates to F&I, is the payment management on the floor. And the important thing is who serves that payment to the customer. Who serves the payment? And that they don't create unrealistic expectations to the customer. If you flip through your handout and you go back to a desking system is an excellent way to do that. It's an excellent way to take the customer smoothly through the decision-making process, empower the salesperson with information, and give the customer an opportunity to see what their choices are without creating unrealistic expectations. The way it's done is going through the sale information and then giving the customer the choices that they have. If they have a promotional choice, then if you look on the next page, then you would show them a promotional option. So what you're doing is you're going through the sale information, you're showing them the options they have to choose from, using a variety of different down payments. And is down payment important in this credit crunch that we're in? Absolutely. Is it important that we either ask for down payment? A desking system gives you the opportunity to put that information in front of the customer, at least on the first pencil. I'm also showing an interest rate. I show an average interest rate because at this point, I don't have the customer's credit bureau. So I show an average interest rate for everybody, and I display what that is. Explain to the customer, folks, we use an average interest rate here. The reason we do that is because the lenders have a tiered system. And we don't know for sure where you're going to fall yet until we get your credit information. Once we get your credit information, we're going to get you an exact payment to the penny based on what you qualify for. Now, if the customer looks back at the salesperson and says, well, I've got A credit. Now, if I'm a salesperson, I'm hoping they say that. That's the best thing they could say. Because I'm saying, excellent, let's verify that. Let me get some credit information for you, and then I will get you an exact payment to the penny based on what you qualify for. Now, in that scenario, is it the best thing for F&I? When that happens, it will only happen about 10% of the time that they actually will get you the credit information at that time. So, I'm giving them choices to choose from. I'm giving the option of paying cash. I'm giving the option to finance. So a good, focus-driven F&I person focuses on the customer. And a team focuses on the team. And part of focusing on the team is putting together a good payment management system. The third area that you need to focus on is your attitude. Your attitude. Your attitude governs your mood, it governs your emotions, it governs your energy, it governs the customer's response. Based on how you portray yourself and your attitude directly relates how they perceive you. In addition to that, it affects how you present. This is a tough job. You've got to be ready. And you're only ready if you got your attitude in the right place. And the focus-driven F&I person, or for that fact, their attitude is reactionary or reactive or proactive. Of course, it's proactive. It's proactive. So what would reactive be? Reactive would be a statement like, there's nothing that I can do. You probably hear people say that, right? Nothing I can do about it. It was this way when I got here. The proactive person says, let's look for alternatives to change. Another reactive, that's just how I am. The proactive would say, I just got to use a different approach. Reactive would be, I can't. Proactive, I choose. Because we do choose, don't we? Everything we do, we choose. You choose to get up in the morning or not, or to hit the snooze. The salesperson or the customer takes away my ability to perform. Reactive. Proactive. What changes can I make? Reactive. Sales are so bad. That'd be easy to do, wouldn't it? Be easy to say. Proactive says, I have so many turns, and I'm going to make the best out of every single one that I have. Your attitude is important. You need to focus on your attitude. You also need to focus on terminology you use. The terminology. Terminology can affect whether you sell, and it also can affect whether or not what you're saying is legal or not, just by the words you choose. How about words that help you sell and words that don't? Words not to say. Don't say price. Say investment. Don't say down payment. Say initial investment. Don't say payment. Say, you got it, monthly investment. Don't say contract. Say agreement or paperwork. The words you choose will affect whether you'll make the sale or not in many cases. Don't say sign right here. Say okay or approve, or let me have you John Hancock right here. Don't say I'm going to send it in to see if we can get you done. I never did figure what that one meant. Get you done. Say, we're going to send it to see if we can obtain financing for you. Don't say my deal. Let me go check on your deal. It's our opportunity. Or it's your opportunity. The terminology you use will affect how well you sell. And focusing on the right, and I didn't say this was easy. I didn't say it's easy not to say contract. You got to learn it. Also, if you're illegal or not. Here, let me give you some illegal words. It's included. It's included. What should you say? The payment of $351.21 includes the vehicle service contract that does and describe. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with assuming the positive. What you can't do is deceive or misrepresent or manipulate. You can't say the bank approved it this way. Can't say that. But you can say the bank has approved any option you select up to X. We're saying the same thing. We're saying it in a different way. Yes, it's more straightforward. Yes, it's more precise. And it's legal. You can't say this is your payment to buy the bike, and that just happens to include a service contract, and you don't tell them, and then you turn them over to F&I, and they just kind of tap dance and put them smoothly through the close. You can't do that. But you could tell them, this is your payment, which includes the service contract, and describe to them what it is, as long as you're itemizing it out for them. You can do that. It's all in the words used. The words you choose will choose how you sell, and it will also affect whether you're legal or not. So the fourth focus factor of F&I is the sales process. The sales process. The focus-driven sales process should include properly approaching the customer, presenting, overcoming their likely objections, and then doing what? Closing, or getting a customer to make a decision. So what is an approach? An approach is a process of breaking preoccupation. Customer may have spent hours, may have spent days, may have spent weeks purchasing their new bike. And how long do they have in the F&I office? 2 minutes, because they got to get to the soccer game. So I need to break the preoccupation. Get the customer thinker, why must I listen to you? Customer will decide the first minute if they're not going to buy from you just by the way you approach them. How your attitude is, how you speak to them. So, break preoccupation. What's some ways to break preoccupation? Let me give you an example. Instead of saying, would you like us to take care of your financing, why not say, now that you just purchased a new bike, is getting the best possible financing important to you? Why not say it that way? Well, of course, the only person who says no to that is who? The cash buyer. Now that you just purchased a new vehicle, is getting the best possible financing important to you? Even if they're going to get their own money, it's still important to them. It breaks their preoccupation. Get the customer thinker saying, why do I listen to you? Another example would be, would you be interested in a program that would prevent you having to pay most any future repair bill for the next 5 years? Break preoccupation. Get the customer to think or say, why must I listen to you? Wouldn't you agree insurance is better to have and not need than to need and not have? Breaking preoccupation. Get the customer to think or say, why must I listen to you? So, customer decides in the first minute if they're not going to buy from you. Not necessarily that they are going to buy from you, but if they're not. Brings us to the presentation. And what is a presentation? It is a process to qualify the customer to buy. Someone said telling is not selling. That's exactly right. It is giving some information, asking a question, and then listening. Give them some information, ask a question, listen. Give them some information, ask a question, listen. Folks, this will cover your engine and transmission. May I ask you a question before I go any further? Have you ever had any major breakdowns like that? Or even any minor breakdowns? Or have you been pretty lucky at this point? Up to this point. Why do I say that? Trying to engage them in conversation. Trying to get them to give me some information. From the presentation, then you will get objections. Now, you hope you get objections because we know that objections show interest. Objections show interest. All the customer is saying is that this is an area of concern. Show me how I can afford it. Costs too much. They're just telling you, show me how I can afford it. If they say I'm not interested, or I'd like to think about it, I can't do anything with that, right? So if they don't give me an objection, I hand them one. Can I ask you why you're not interested? Is it the price? In addition to price, or any other reason why you wouldn't go ahead with it? Which brings us to the close. Close. And closing on a menu, I think we've found is the best way to go. It's the best way to go from compliance. It's the best way to go for profit. It's the best way to go for flexibility. But if I'm a dealer, I'm requiring a menu, and I'm requiring an electronic menu. The reason I'm requiring an electronic menu is the same reason that I wouldn't let a finance person fill out a retail installment agreement by hand. Because once you use a menu, it becomes part of that legal transaction. Once you use it. The reason I'm using it if I'm an F&I person is because it's going to make me more money. It's going to make me more money because it's flexible. Because if somebody comes in and says, well, you know, I decided, instead, I was going to go ahead and put a little money down. If I do a handwritten menu, I got to say, wait, I don't think you can do that. I already got your menu done up. Of course you can't say that. And you can't redo the menu, can you? Well, you could, But they got to sit there and watch you. So if you flip back in the handout, there's some examples of some menus. And I want you to go back to the second menu first. I'm going to go back to the second menu first. This is a standard menu. This basically is showing the options that I presented to them, and I said the options that I presented to them. I suggest you use a menu at the end of the presentation, not sell from the presentation. If you sell from the presentation, if you pull this out right away and say, folks, I want to go over some options for you. First, I'd like to talk to you about a service contract. What does the customer do immediately? They start looking around. They start saying, well, wait. And then they start seeing there's payments on here. You just lost them. You lost them. Now they're saying, well, where's my payment at? Let me find a lower one. Oh, here we go. That's the one I wanted. I need them to look at me, don't I? I want them looking at me. So I give them options to choose from to make their decision. The menu is an excellent alternative close. You flip back to the first menu. This is an example of a menu on a deal that you've been capped. Now, we're getting capped nowadays, aren't we? So what does the average F&I person do? Not you people. The average F&I person do? They just present them enough products that they have enough room for. Instead of giving them all their options and letting them choose based on how much additional down payment they got to come up with. Now, am I saying that everybody's going to start stroking a bunch of checks and buying all your products? No. What I am saying is this makes you more compliant because you gave them the opportunity to buy, and it also gives you a chance. Maybe they'll come up with $708 and take the silver package. So you can use one of this for if you're capped on the payment, if you're capped on the amount financed, or if you're capped on the sale price or the NAD retail. Now if we flip back, the next menu, the third menu in, that's an example of a promotional comparison. That compares what it would be if they go with the promotion or if they went with an installment loan. I caution you on using this. You need to be a seasoned professional before you pull this out and know exactly what customer you are dealing with, because you could end up talking a customer out of buying the bike, and I strongly encourage you against that. You don't want the customer to think, well, I came in to buy a $99 bike. Now you're telling me that I really need to pay $350? Big mistake. Nobody on the sales team will like you